Bueno, esto es un pequeño experimento porque nunca habíamos hecho un encuentro bilingüe en cuanto a que, bueno, vamos a ir saltando de un idioma a otro como no según vaya adquiriendo la charla. Os agradecemos que estéis aquí. El objetivo es profundizar un poco en la adaptación de las canciones de Hamilton. No existe todavía una versión oficial ni en castellano ni en japonés, pero las dos personas que están ahí con nosotros, aparte de ser grandes adaptadores, están dedicando ya tiempo a ver cómo podrían sonar esas canciones en castellano. I was saying, again, that this is sort of an experiment because we had never done a bilingual encounter before. We had always conducted them in Spanish. So, well, it's an experiment. Let's see where this leads us, but I'm sure it's going to be really interesting. And I was saying that that there are no official translations of Hamilton into Spanish or Japanese, right, but that both of you are already investing some of your time to seeing how those songs would sound in your mother tongue.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the first question. I'll ask Marc, ¿no? ¿Qué es la adaptación musical, no?
Bueno, para mí la adaptación musical es como una traducción más, en el sentido de que tiene que reflejar lo que refleja el original. Entonces, claro, en las canciones, los parámetros a los que hay que ceñirse para que la experiencia de las personas que reciben el texto adaptado sea el mismo que el del texto original. Claro, hay muchos más parámetros, el ritmo, el rima, las figuras más retóricas. Bueno, hay como muchos más corsés de lo que sería para una traducción normal, que sea cantable, que sea de esto. Pero en el fondo es eso, para mí es la manera de traducir lo que en el original está de una manera muy concreta. Entonces, para ello, pues creo que hay que ponerle mucho acento tanto a la forma como al fondo, porque en una canción la forma es muy importante, pero lo que está diciendo también. Entonces, ¿qué es lo más importante? Pues honestamente pienso que las dos cosas. Y para conseguir que las dos cosas estén en equilibrio, hace falta darle muchas vueltas a las letras, pero bueno, creo que siempre de algún modo se puede hacer algo, nunca como el original, porque el original es el original, pero algo que el espectador que lo vea, pues en este caso en español o el que sea, tenga la sensación de decir, va, he visto lo mismo, he tenido la misma experiencia muy parecida que la que ha ido a ver en la versión original.
Now it's your turn again. Marc focused mainly on talking about the balance, about finding balance between content and form, no? And on trying that the spectator has the same experience as a viewer or as a listener when listening to a song, no? Marc, yeah. More or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
think
that's
absolutely. Yeah.
How would you describe some adaptation?
From what I understand, which is about 60 to 75%, just from context of listening, I agree with mostly what he said. I would add to that, yes, form and content, fitting it all in the music, honoring the original music, honoring the original staging, and having all of that in mind as a process when you're translating is really, really important. And I think being able to convey the emotional impact that a lyric has is more important than conveying the exact meaning. And I say that with risk of being misinterpreted, because I think, especially in theater culture, the lines are so important. Like if you go to acting school, they tell you to cross out the stage directions and just focus on the lines. And I get that because it's the original art that the creator made. But the purpose of the line is to convey a story and have an emotional impact. And if that is lost when you force a direct translation, I don't think it works. And so I think translating or adapting a musical is very, very hard to do all alone. Because if you're just translating, there's no way to know. Sometimes there's no way to know what the original intention is of the writer. And I think having a collaborative process where you can talk to the director so that you know that your lyrics are in sync with the choreography or the staging, and all these things really enhances the translation. So if you can create an environment where you're translating, but you have all the help from the creative teams on both sides, then you can really create something together. And it just, the better it gets, I think. So I think it's not an isolated task, or it's hard to do when it's isolated.
Whereas many times it happens like that.
Yeah, they assign it to you. They're like, okay, here's the deadline. Here's the, here's the dialogue. Translate it, give it to us back in like 3 months. And I'm like, can I talk to the director? Usually for me, I personally just reach out to the original creator, either, through referral, or sometimes I just DM them, on Instagram or whatever. And they've been very, very helpful for that. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Thank you again. The next question is, what skills are required to perform this task? ¿No? Marc, ¿qué cualidades son necesarias para desempeñar este trabajo?
Yo creo que una gran capacidad de comprensión, understanding the whole text and the whole show, entender, creo que sí, que tienes que poder sintetizar muy bien lo que estás intentando adaptar. Después, un uso bueno del lenguaje de llegada, más casi que el de, bueno, más casi no, más que el del original. Creo que necesitas muy buen uso del idioma en el que estás adaptando, y eso no siempre es capacidad propia. O sea, también en mi caso es también, creo, conocer muy bien las herramientas, en mi caso online, pero diccionarios, o sea, saber cómo poder utilizar, ya sea por capacidad propia o por las herramientas que tengas, eso, un buen texto también de llegada, o sea, que el texto esté bien. Pero sí, creo que es esto. En el caso de la adaptación musical, pues también cierto conocimiento o intuiciones musicales. Creo que aquí en este caso, tanto Gen como yo, I think you're an actor too, you're a singer too, so
Yeah.
I think we have this like a step one, because o sea, tenemos esto ganado, creo, al ser actores y cantantes, porque podemos decir, vale, si esto no lo puedo cantar yo, if I cannot sing this, maybe no one can. O sea, que we have to be able to sing our own lyrics, and I think, o sea, creo que podemos intentar que ser capaces de cantar y decir, vale, esto es interpretable, ¿no? O sea, creo que esto es un añadido, creo, positivo que tenemos tanto él como yo. No hace falta, you don't need to be an actor to adapt, no necesitas ser actor para adaptar, pero bueno, creo que esto en nuestro caso creo que funciona bien, porque es un paso que tenemos ganado. Pero sí, creo que comprensión, uso del lenguaje y comprensión del lenguaje escénico también, creo.
So, general lines, no, I think again, I think you more or less followed everything, no? But as you talked, Marc, mainly about the need to be able to understand the main concepts and being able to synthesize them, no? Obviously, mastering the language or translating into, no? To have some musical intuition in a way, even if you don't have a formal musical training, maybe having like some sort of musical intuition, and being an actor also helps, right? Because you can make yourself an idea of how that is going to sound like, no?
Yes, again, I think some basic skills that you need are, obviously, you have to understand both languages very, very well. And then beyond that, I think you need to be able to understand subtext, humor, sarcasm. Like in Japanese, for example, sarcasm doesn't really exist as a culture. And so sometimes the lines that I see translated in other shows have the direct opposite meaning of what the original was trying to say, because they didn't realize it was sarcasm. And that was in the show, you know. And I guess the original creative team didn't catch that because it was translated back in a sarcastic way.
Yeah.
I think being able to sing it, absolutely. especially like with high notes, there are certain vowels that are easier to sing than others. So as a translator, if you can find words that bring out the vowels and the high notes that are easier to sing, it'll just sound better. I think the ability to listen to your own lyrics from the audience perspective so that you can experience how they're experiencing your lyrics is important, because sometimes when you translate and you have to adapt things or you have to throw out certain information because it doesn't fit, you have to make sure that they still have enough information to follow. In Japanese, when you translate, you can only fit about 75% of the original meaning into Japanese because the language is a little more spread out. We don't have so many diphthongs, for example, so the information isn't condensed in terms of just the number of syllables you need to fit in. And so often it's better to just, instead of like translating an American idiom, take a completely local Japanese idiom that has the same meaning and has just information condensed, and then put that in instead. So the more you can condense information, the better. And then if you can make it rhyme at the same time, you have information coming in, and then the kind of excitement of like all that rhyming and the accents that are hitting and all that, and like that, all that translates into like an emotional impact and just makes it fun, because at the end of the day, if you're watching a show, it has to be entertaining. And when it's like this is the meaning, like it just loses a lot of that essence. Yeah. I think those are some important skills.
I want to add that I was amazed when I discovered the Phantom of the Opera in Japanese. Cuando descubrí el Fantasma de la Ópera, I was amazed. I know very little of Japanese, but I was amazed. Like Yume no naka ni anata wa. You have a lot of verses to say in your dreams. Why you need a lot of space to say like this. It was wow. In Japanese it's very hard because it's like you need a lot of space to say something. Wow, I only understood like the first verses, and they always they had little space, and they needed a lot of space to say very little things, and it was wow. It's very hard in Japanese, I think.
Absolutely. But, do you speak a bit of Japanese? You sound like you studied
a little bit. I only 1.5 years, but time long ago.
So like yume no naka ni anata wa, anata means you. So you
need
3 syllables for you. Well, so this is interesting about Japanese because the word order is different, and you can say a lot of phrases without using pronouns. So you can eliminate anata. You could say yume no naka ni ita, like it's translates to were there in my dream, but the you is implied. So you can do that a lot in Japanese, but then when you translate shows, I guess they try to honor the pronouns, so it's very, very clear. For me, I try to eliminate the pronouns as much as I can. Also very interesting, there's an author called Haruki Murakami, very famous Japanese author. He writes novels in Japanese as if they sound like they're foreign novels translated into Japanese, because he grew up reading so many foreign novels. And when you read Japanese adaptations of foreign novels, they add the pronouns to every single sentence, which is not how a Japanese writer would normally write. They would eliminate them if it's obvious by context. So when Murakami Haruki writes in Japanese, he puts in all the pronouns. It sounds like a foreign writer. Yeah.
Wow, it's so interesting. Maybe that's why he was so famous like worldwide, because it was like a style more European, or I don't know, but maybe
easy to translate, probably.
Of course. Wow, so interesting. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, why?
Another thing about the Phantom of the Opera, the theater company for that is called Four Seasons Theater, Gekidan Shiki. They are notorious for putting a very strong emphasis on conveying the words. And so in Japanese theater, you can talk conversationally like, konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Gen desu, like, hello, my name is Gen. But then because they're in theater and it's just the culture of the theater company. It's like, konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Gen desu. Like they talk very, very clearly so that every single word is very easy to articulate and listen to as the audience. My personal opinion is it takes away from the realism a little bit. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know for a fact because I haven't studied Shiki lyrics that much, but I wouldn't be surprised if the lyrical translation approach is the same way. Yeah. Anyway.
I understand. So interesting. No.
It's very, very interesting. Okay, now I would like you to tell us, both of you, something about your first musical adaptation. Vale, la idea es que nos contéis algo sobre vuestro primer proyecto musical como adaptadores. ¿Empiezas tú, Marc?
Vaya. Yo, la cosa es que no lo tengo 100% claro. Creo que lo primero que hice entero... o sea, yo estaba en una... Yo adaptaba en casa, del plan, todas las películas Disney, las tengo prácticamente todas adaptadas al catalán con 16 años, con acentos cruzados. Fui aprendiendo en casa y por observación y decir, vale, esto me va funcionando. Entonces estaba en una compañía de teatro donde hacíamos musicales y creo que lo primero que hice fue... hicimos una versión más corta de Sweeney Todd, donde yo cambié algunas letras para hacerlo más a mi gusto, pero después el primer musical entero, ya con derechos, todo bien, fue el Kiss Me Kate de Cole Porter, que claro, fue como, madre mía. Y después el primero profesional, porque esto era amateur, fue Bear, a Pop Opera, que lo llamamos per sobre totes les coses, y esa fue como mi primer adaptación profesional. Pero sí, claro, sí, mis primeras adaptaciones realmente fueron en Words, adaptando películas Disney, sí, al catalán, porque por desgracia tenemos muy pocas películas dobladas al catalán, pero eso me daba la oportunidad de decir, pues voy a hacer estas letras a ver cómo sonarían en catalán.
La primera que se adaptó al catalán fue El jorobado de Notre Dame.
El jorobado de Notre Dame, sí. Esta fue la primera.
No,
100 Dálmatas es anterior, pero se dobló después. Fue cuando lo publicaron en VHS posteriormente. La primera fue el jorobado de Notre Dame.
El Jeperut de Notre Dame.
El Jeperut de Notre Dame, sí. Sí.
Hunchback of Notre Dame was your first show?
No. It was the first Disney film dubbed into Catalan.
Cool.
No. My first one non-professional was Kiss Me Kate, and my first one professional was Bear, a pop opera.
I love Bear. I did Bear.
Okay. Yeah, into Catalan, both of them. Yeah.
That's interesting. I was in the Japanese cast of Bear.
Whoa! What did you play?
Jason.
Okay. I was Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, whoa!
It's a fun role. I did not translate that.
Okay. Wow.
Let's see. My first adaptation. My first one was. Do you know the Broadway musical called Allegiance? It's about the Japanese internment camps. It has George Takei. I didn't translate it. I did the subtitles for the movie version.
Okay.
Which was interesting because it had its own limitations where you have to fit it in. But the first musical that I actually translated the lyrics for that in a way that was sung was 35 Millimeters by Ryan Scott Oliver. This was a fast and furious translations. I had like 3 months maybe, which is, for me, it's not a lot of time. I've been working on Hamilton for years, so it's like, but I had all the help from Ryan Scott Oliver. He was on call and literally answered any question for me. And I got to experiment with each song because each song was like a standalone song. So meaning each song is its own story and the stories aren't really connected, maybe a little bit, but not really. And so for one of the songs I did like rap lyrics. The other ones I just did experimental lyrics and I did all these things. It was super fun. How did I come across the project? I just asked the producer. It was the pandemic and I'd lost some shows that I was supposed to be in. And I said, I have all this time. Do you have any work for me? I'm really good at translating. And he said, actually, yes, I have one you could do right away.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you have any recordings of that?
Sorry? Oh,
are there any
I have
recordings
recordings
of
of
that?
I could probably get it. Yeah.
Wow,
I
that would be...
Yeah. See if yeah, we could probably put it on. Maybe. I don't know if you're... Yeah. I'll ask. I'll find out. And if we could include it in the broadcast, that'd be cool.
Well, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to talk about Hamilton. Vale, ahora vamos a centrarnos en Hamilton. Así que se me ocurre que una forma de empezar es ver un fragmento de las adaptaciones que están en YouTube y que pertenecen bien a Marc o a Gen. I'll play 1 minute of each, but I'll paste the link in the chat in case anyone wants to watch them afterwards.
Okay.
Vamos a empezar con Alexander Hamilton. Un segundito. Que la pongo.
Tan, 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 si no.
Segundo. Aquí la tenemos. Using earphones when you answer. You need to mute them out.
Lo pongo en silencio, me cojo cascos.
Vale.
Silenciado. Ok.
Como un bastardo, solo, huérfano de padre y madre, en una isla caribeña se adueña de su suerte y se hace fuerte y se convierte en todo un hito, como el maldito se volvió erudito.
Aquel padre de la Constitución sin padres trabajó duro y labró su futuro, siendo ágil de mente, siendo autosuficiente y consiguió un puesto decente de adolescente.
Se convirtió en patrón en una empresa de importación y exportación, y en un mundo aún con esclavos se sentía atado al pasado. Sin un centavo soñaba con ser alguien más y llevarlo a cabo.
Cuando un gran huracán cayó como un titán, su plan de futuro tambaleaba como un flan. Pero usó ese gran desastre y lo escribió con mucho afán. Todo el mundo se hizo fan de su estilo y su ademán. Se hizo...
Uy, no te oigo a ti.
Y ahora vamos a ver un fragmento de My Shot en japonés, además interpretado por Gen, o sea, traducido, adaptado e interpretado.
I am not throwing away my shot. 人生棒に振るもんか。アメリカのよう生まれたての貧乏。人生棒に振るもんか。奨学金取りに行くぜ。自慢じゃないけどやばいんだぜ俺。頭脳明晰育ちは貧乏。目立とうと叫ぼうとしても誰も聞いてくれない。俺は原石だ。ダイヤになる言葉の力で上にのし上がるんだ。たった19子供扱い。ニューヨークそ寒いのに金もない。打たれ強くても丸腰で立ち向かうにもひもじくて何もできない。夢は派手だ炎のように炎上。おめえ返上だ教えるよ俺は ALEXANDER この植民地特にイギリスには有益ビビりすぎてマジ自立できない生き死に作詞されまくりジョージ3世の小遣いのために独立が許されるはずはない革命は間違いない今世紀台本に主人公の場入り教科書に現れればびっくりこの命も惜しくないいや本当にぶち上がるつもり人生
Ole. Ay, no te oigo. Ahora sí.
Wow.
Mola mucho.
Las dos.
Ole.
That was fun. What's your? I want to ask what your process of translating is like. Do you? So for me, it's like I literally have to write out every possibility on paper, and then I kind of like cross-reference the potential rhymes with the meaning, and I like start eliminating, and it's kind of like building a whole tree structure for each line. And then, you know, if there are multiple lines that have to rhyme, then there's like a bigger tree structure that it all has to go in. So it like takes a lot of time to write everything out. If I can't find a rhyme, then I have to like reinterpret the translation, the meaning. And that's where I start to like make more kind of lyrical adaptations versus like direct translations. I'm curious how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know how I do it. I think I look at the ceiling and no, I use a lot of dictionaries and
Yes.
every tool in the internet I can find.
Thesaurus.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. And then I tend to start with ¿cómo se dice el estribillo? Like, ¿cómo se dice el
Chorus.
estribillo? The chorus, like in the case of my chat, I didn't publish our translation, but we did our chat too, and we started like, okay, how can we say this? Because maybe we have to we need to put, okay, maybe we list some information in. I am not throwing away my chat, but then we can put it like here or there, and then I go like, I don't know, because it's not, no, I don't write everything down. I always have like the English lyrics, I see where the rhymes are, the words, and I go like, okay, I'm not going delete. And yes, I don't have like a system. Sometimes I remember in, not Hamilton, in Rent, there's like this song like Without You, like a lot of monosyllables. Monosyllables, esta palabra existe. Okay, and I did like a list of all the monosyllables that were okay, and put colors. Okay, floor goes well with this, but I always look at the ceiling and try to find and go, okay, maybe I can use this. Okay, we don't have like this rhyme here. Yes, I'm not very methodic. I keep going, I think, and delete a lot. Yeah.
Then you just trust yourself that it'll come to you.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I have like blank paper like an hour, like literally. What I don't know what to do here, and then yeah. But I use a lot of tools, internet tools. I use every tool I can, and the dictionaries I have, like you cannot see here, but yes, I use everything I have in my hand, like, can help me to go somewhere.
I wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for the internet.
No, I'm absolutely certain that I'm an imposter, and I always if the internet goes down, and well, I have a lot of dictionaries, but I think that yes, no, I won't be able. That's not true, because I do a lot of translations in the subway. Because, well, when you do a lot of lyrics, you have the list of rhymes here because you tend to go to the same places. But the thing is, how can you get to these places and to feel like unique in every lyric? And sí, un poco.
Yeah.
But I'm a mess.
We had this, no?
Yes, no lo tengo.
I think you have it as well. This is
the only I have in paper. Yeah, like a rhyming dictionary in Spanish. This is in Catalan, which is.
Is that a rhyming dictionary?
Yeah, in Spanish and in Catalan.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, but I use like internet most of the time.
I have a dictionary in the other room, so I can't show it to you. But it's a Japanese accent dictionary. So a lot of times people don't realize that Japanese is a tonal language, just like Chinese. The Japanese people, they do it instinctively. And I guess people understand the different tones based on the dialect that you speak. I am from Osaka, which is a different dialect from Tokyo, which is what all the major musicals are translated into, is the Tokyo dialect. And so I have an accent dictionary for the Tokyo dialect. And if I can fit like a higher note where the accent goes up and the lower note where the accent goes down, it comes in more naturally.
But maybe in the same word can have like different accent in a sentence, right? Or am I
You
Like,
have onomatopoeias that are different accents, but same consonant vowels that have different meanings. Like hashi, for example, is chopsticks. Hashi is bridge.
yeah. And
Yeah.
umi and umi and everything. Yeah, I remember that in Japanese class. Yeah.
Yeah, one is ocean, the other is pus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
No, but I'm the same way. I'll spend like an hour on one line just trying to crack it, and then I can't. So I leave it for a couple of days. I come back to it. If I don't have the internet on the subway, I'll just spend time going as far as I can, and then I'm like, after this point, I need to look it up online because like there's more possibilities here. But but time goes by quickly though. I feel like I get very addicted to the process because when I finally find the rhyme and I listen to the lyrics as they're coming out, I'm like, oh my god, it sounds so good. So you get your reward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and no one's paying me.
No, in the case of Hamilton, not.
Exactly. But yeah, I have all of it here.
Whoa, this is Hamilton?
Yeah,
You're Hamilton?
This is what I've done so far for Hamilton.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is
And
about
transcribed into the sheet music, no?
3/5 of the show. Yeah. But I guess you can see kind of like how I map things out and kind of create the possibilities. I kind of have like a self-developed system where I kind of branch out things and
So you use paper, like pencil and paper.
I have to do it on paper. There's no way I can't do it because I have to be able to write it into the sheet music just like this.
Yeah.
You don't use paper?
No, I'm always at Word, and I write it like no. The sheet in the professional productions, we have someone like is transcribing the word sheet into the score and everything. I never put the lyrics. Well, maybe in one song, but no. I always have like the score open in the computer, and I go like, okay, everything's, but I don't put it in under the
Gotcha. So you kind of create the lyrics more in your body.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's why there's no method. Like, okay, I see it. Okay, okay. Yes. Yeah. It's like a mess.
Got it. I think that allows a little bit more flexibility, which I'm trying to have because I'm so like methodical. Because I like studied music, so I'm just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this because I use a lot of compensation. Like I cannot use this here, but maybe there. So I like to have like the whole picture of the song, and I've lost a pun here, but I think that here we have something that in English you don't have the pun, but we lost here, so we can put it here. It's like yes.
I have a question because before we started broadcasting, we were having a quick conversation, and he was telling me how he translates anime opening songs to Catalan or Catalonian.
Yeah, mostly Catalan to Spanish too, but
yeah. But you were saying that you don't translate the English that is in Japanese songs because in Japanese pop songs or anime songs, there'll always be like one phrase in English, like "we'll always be together," or
yes,
like, "love for you," or But you said it's weird to have random English in songs. In Japanese, they do it because it sounds cool,
Yeah.
Well, often the kids don't even know what they're saying, but it's like, oh, it's English.
Yeah. Because one thing I saw that in Japan that little people could speak English because I couldn't speak to anyone. Like, is the train here? Okay, I had to think it in Japanese. I asked the question in Japanese, but then I didn't understand the answer. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But okay.
I think it's getting better. Japan is a culture where they don't like to make mistakes, and so everybody studies English for almost 10 years if you include elementary school now. But they don't speak because they don't want to make mistakes. So now the big thing in Japan is to just talk. Just mistakes don't matter, you know, perfectionism and everything.
Yeah. It's something that it is in my mind, because I told Nicolas that I wouldn't speak English because I'm very self-prejudiced. Like, I cannot speak English, and I'm speaking English because okay. But yes, I don't want to make mistakes, because I think in Spanish I'm correcting myself every time. Okay, you said this, and English, because it's a mess in my head. But okay, yes, in Catalan and Spanish we always translate the into Catalan, whatever is in English, because it's weird for us to have me enamoré because the power of love. No, in Catalan, in Spanish, it's quite weird. And we also add, as I told you, the rhymes that in Japanese that there are in the most of the cases not rhymes, and we say okay, we have to a b more or less, or a and yes we add rhymes and translate the English part into Catalan as yes. So you see the anime and the hiragana, katakana, and everything, and a part in English in the subtitles because the love, but I don't hear love. I hear amor or whatever. Yeah. It's curious. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Going back to Hamilton. What do you think makes Hamilton so different from other musicals? ¿No? ¿Qué es lo que hace que Hamilton sea tan diferente de otros musicales, ¿no? No sé si quieres empezar tú, Marc, o...
I mean, you know, I think the obvious kind of the first big things about Hamilton was the color conscious casting, I guess they call it. Colorblind casting. I don't know. So these terms, sometimes I don't know which one is correct, but the point is you have historically white characters being played by Hispanic and Black people mostly, or and Asians, and especially in the title roles. And I think the justification is that the lyrical, the rap lyrics, as a culture, is something that derives from African-American or Hispanic cultures, and therefore should be represented by this demographic, which I think is kind of groundbreaking in a way, especially when you consider how expensive the tickets are, and you go to see Hamilton and look around the audience, and it's like mostly white people.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. No, but actually, honestly, they're doing like programs where they invite inner city school kids to see the show for free. They have lottery tickets for artists, and there's, I think, so much representation. Well, representation has been like a huge thing on Broadway, and people have been fighting for it, especially before Black Lives Matter, but after Black Lives Matter, especially. Oh my goodness. So, you know, it really kind of like broke one of the big rules of theater doing that, because I think before the rule was, if it's like Phantom of the Opera or it's like Les Miserables, it's set in France, but the story has nothing to do with race. Therefore, you can cast any race in whatever role. But if you look at something like Hamilton, George Washington used to own slaves. So, you know, there is some historical specificity to the fact that they're white, but then overriding that and finding a bigger justification to cast diversely, I think is pretty significant and set the stage for shows to do similar things moving forward. So, yeah. That's one thing I could bring up about Hamilton. And then obviously it's a rap musical that for the first time. Absolutely. Killer lyrics and good story
use rap as a vehicle, not just like the wheat in grain, nothing but grain, like a segment. It's like you can tell a story by rap, by hip hop.
And it's amazing because you can fit so much more information.
It's a good idea in the politics and everything, like to have like this in rap, because it's like a mind going very fast. It's obviously that the lyrics are wonderful. It's like, I think it's a Sondheim level, and well, it's like America loves this thing of, oh my god, the language, so and we enjoy it here too. So yeah.
There's definitely it's so much fun to listen to lyrics that land. There's like an exhilarating sense. That's like so important to replicate that when you translate it.
Of course. Yeah.
It's not the same
Exactly.
show unless you create that.
Exactly. And regarding what you're saying about the way Hamilton is written, what do you think is the main difficulty in adapting a musical like Hamilton into Japanese or into Spanish, ¿no? Es decir, centrándonos en las características que estamos refiriendo sobre Hamilton, ¿cuál es la principal o las principales dificultades, ¿no? para adaptar Hamilton a un idioma como puede ser el japonés o el español, ¿no?
As counterintuitive, I think it's translating it accurately is the biggest challenge. And earning the trust of the original creator, Lin-Manuel Miranda, or maybe any of the other people in the creative team that would be in charge of greenlighting your work. I think it's a big responsibility. It's not easy, for sure. I just said this at the beginning, but I think recreating the emotional impact is so important. And unless you're able to do that, I don't think it works.
Yeah, I think I always say that the feeling of the original audience has to be similar as the Spanish in this case or Japanese audience. And to get that, it's the emotion, that the feeling that okay, this is the language, the use of the language, the emotional impact, the specificity, and also the stories, because you have to keep in mind that you're telling true things. Most of the part, there are historical things. You cannot in other musicals you can say, okay, maybe it wasn't an apple, it was a peach, okay, fine, but maybe George Washington had an apple in his desk. Me estoy inventando esto, eh? So you always have to say, okay, I cannot invent that and make it up as I want. I think there are a lot of levels of difficulties: the language, to keep the story, and to be historically accurate. Although the original, they have some licenses and not everything is accurate. But okay, you have, it's very difficult to adapt Hamilton, but that's why it's so fun, I think.
Yeah.
Regarding what you were saying about the peach and the apple, no, I think it's important to understand which elements mentioned in a song are key to the story. The storyline, because sometimes and which
for example, in the first song, Alexander Hamilton, although I am very obsessive with keeping the same rhymes at the same place in general, the how does an orphan the introduction is so clear and the information is so specific, then I think, okay, I have to keep like this information, maybe not here, but here, but I need to give the same information, because it's the beginning. There's telling like the whole story in one song. It's true, and it's very you can follow the path. So my strategy in the first lines is, okay, maybe I cannot put like the same rhymes in the same places, but I have to put a lot of rhymes, everything that sounds similar and everything, because I think that's what he did. And okay, maybe then when as the song keeps going, I'm more ¿cómo se dice fiel ahora? No sé cómo se dice fiel.
Loyal, or
sí, more loyal to the this rhyme is here. But at the beginning, it's like, okay, I have to put all this information and make it like very clever and impacting. Shock, well, I don't know. But not so specific with this rhyme goes here. Though I'm very obsessive with this but yes, because of the difficulty of having all this information just to open the show, like, oh, there's an orphan, the bastards, like, wow, okay, yes.
That opening line is one of the hardest lines in the whole show to translate. I still have options.
Yeah.
I haven't locked it. I've translated more than half the show in that line, because you have your repeating motifs. So the how does Bastard Orphan Son of a Whore. You know, there's in reprisal songs, other songs like how does a bastard orphan is a decorated war vet. There's like 5 or 7 different openings with that and it's like how does and then it's something else. The how does has to be the same for every translation, but then the word order in Japanese is different. So the how does it comes at the end. So I have to like find some like particle in the middle that I can bring to the front that still translates the meaning. It's a whole puzzle. But I think you just have to trust that you're gonna find a way. Even jokes like everything is legal in New Jersey. Like, how do you translate that? Nobody in Japan knows what New Jersey, like, they don't know the stereotypes about New Jersey. New Yorkers think New Jersey is not cool, you know?
How do you said, like, I am not throwing away my shot? Because it's like a complex thing because of the shot and the opportunity and everything. How in English, what are you saying in Japanese?
In the video that Nicolas, you played, I'm saying jinsei bo ni furumon ka, which is a Japanese idiom. So like when you're playing baseball and you swing and you don't hit the ball, you get a strike. And so it's like, I'm not going to strike out my life. Is what I'm saying. But then what became apparent was the dun da 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 dun dun dun. So I am not I am not throwing away my shot. That rhythm has to be there. So jinsei bo ni furumon ka doesn't work because the triplet is now danta. So I had to change it. And so now my updated lyric is mudauchi shitakunai my shot. Mudauchi means, it's a word that means to fire and miss.
Perfect.
There's a word for that. Like when you waste a bullet, you did a mudauchi. Shitakunai is I don't want to, my shot. So I don't want to mudauchi my shot.
Perfect.
So I had to change the lyric in order to fit that
the rhythm.
One of the biggest motifs in the show. It starts with dun da 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 dun dun. Non-negotiable.
I understand.
This leads us back to what we were saying at the beginning about the importance of conserving not just meaning but also other formal aspects, you know, like rhythm, rhyme. So I think it would be interesting now to to talk about how important formal aspects are in order to convey or to produce in the audience the same effect, ¿no? Estamos comentando lo que además es una de las cosas que defendemos en la escuela, ¿no? Es la importancia de los aspectos formales prácticamente a la par que el contenido, ¿no? One of the things we defend from our organization now is that formal aspects are as important as content. That it's not always easy to keep both, but there needs to be I think adapters should really make their biggest effort to try to conserve both when possible, no? And I think
I agree with you.
I know everyone agrees with this, but I think that people who understand the way Broadway shows are written, I think they agree with this, no?
I think with the way Lin writes his music, he gives intelligent rap lyrics to intelligent characters like Angelica. You know, I remember that night. I just might regret that night for the rest of my days. And like the rhyme scheme keeps going on. But then little Philip, he's a kid and he's rapping for the first time, showing off this like, I am a poet. I wrote this rhyme, so you know it. So it's like different levels. And then like Mulligan is like a lot of slang, you know, your mama said come again. It's like a lot of dirty lyrics in a way. I think replicating that in the respective language is very, very important, just from a technical perspective. Yeah, absolutely. All of the musical motifs, the musical phrases that get repeated, they have to be the same. They have to be consistent. It's like one giant puzzle.
Sudoku. It's a Sudoku of letters.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
It's like a 81 panel Sudoku.
Yes.
Exactly. What do you think, Marc, regarding this, about the importance of keeping? I know what you think, but...
Sí. No, sí, totalmente. O sea, para mí es que es eso, es que están al mismo nivel y además, o sea, tanto el fondo como la forma, y eso quiere decir muchas cosas. O sea, que estén al mismo nivel quiere decir que tienes que invest, ahora no me saldrán las palabras en castellano, ahora me saldrán las palabras en inglés, pero eso, que te tienes que como poner del todo, o sea, ahora no sé hablar en castellano, en fin, I cannot speak Spanish anymore, okay, okay. No, pero
I love that.
I don't know why. Eso, que para mí tienen que estar en el mismo nivel y para llegar a eso, claro, tienes que dar muchas vueltas, tienes que encontrar muchas maneras y es lo que es también en las clases, siempre digo, creo que siempre se puede llegar a algo que esté prácticamente al mismo nivel, no del original, sino que fondo y forma se conecten de una manera que sea honesta y a la vez fiel al original. Pero sí, eso, no sé, que para mí están al mismo nivel, que es muy difícil, o sea, que realmente si te lo miras dices, esto no tiene sentido, esto es imposible. You will never have like the whole picture, like the Sudoku is you cannot do this Sudoku, but at the end, from my experience, you can always have a solution. Maybe it's not the perfect, but well, I've translated Sondheim's, Larsson's, and they're extremely difficult, but you always have a solution. So when I said, okay, I'm going to try Hamilton because I think it's like a challenge. You can rewrite and see, okay, we have another options, but it's surprising that you always find something that you say, okay, it makes sense. Y yo creo que, creo que también es eso, ¿no? Rendirse creo que no es una opción. Hay un momento, evidentemente, que dices, vale, quizás no soy capaz, pero
porque hay una fecha de entrega, ¿no? There's a deadline. No?
Yes, that's a deadline, but in our case, we don't have like someone to say you have to deliver this. No, yeah, you can be the whole life like, well
the German translation.
Yes, yeah.
Apparently, they spent 6 years translating it.
Yeah.
2 people.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's coming to Spain. The translator will have the same time. I'm not very sure, pero no sé. Pero I think it's possible.
The German version coming to Spain?
No. The original version. If someday comes to Spain, I'm not sure that whoever translates this musical will have the same time. Because you said, okay, I had 3 months and it was like, whoa. I'm quite used to have the musicals in 1 month and a half, maybe 3 weeks if you can. It's like, okay. So yeah.
When Maria Ovelar adapted the Phantom of the Opera into Spanish for the dubbed version, she also had to take care of sync and all that, which made it extra difficult. She had 1 month, and that was a lot of time. She said, I have 1 month. It's like, wow. So 1 month.
Yeah.
So in Spain, we're not used to having very long periods of time to complete an adaptation.
Maybe if I can translate without rhyming, I could do it in a month.
Yeah. No, it's una locura.
Yeah.
Regarding rhyme and all that, because there are actors in Spain who think rhyme is not as important, no? But we always say that if it's important for the original authors, it should be, no? I found this is something that Lynn published. I'm not sure if you read it, but it was quite interesting. I used it in one of our courses as well, no? he noticed some of the internal rhymes in Howard Ashman's lyrics in The Little Mermaid. I think this is from the reprise of Part of Your World. No. What would I give to live where you are? What would I pay to stay? What would I do to see you?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And the blink and you miss some internal rhymes without ever calling attention to themselves is what separates the greats from the amateurs.
Yes.
It's a brilliant line.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so true. There's so many internal rhymes that you throw in there that you can hear that even like watching the video that you posted of me performing, I would probably sing it differently now to put a little bit more, not like in your face, but just a little bit more emphasis on the internal rhymes.
Yeah.
It just gives that sub kind of pulse to it.
Yeah.
No, it takes a good performer to be able to do that, to understand that.
Yeah.
I've had people sing some of my work, and I've honestly just circle all the internal rhymes on the sheet music just so they know, just so they have awareness.
That's a good thing to do, I think. Yeah, because I it's like a part of ego. But I went to see Ordinary Days, which I translated into Catalan and into Spanish.
Wow.
And I was like, there are a lot of rhymes here that I know that are here, but maybe that the audience doesn't need to note this, but it's like, wow, this, and people I think they're missing. Yeah, because like everything is internal rhymed in Ordinary Days, and it's like I had everything here, and it was and I think they did an amazing job acting that songs, but it was maybe if the actor knew that these are rhymed, maybe they would deliver a bit different. I tend to not to put colors or something, but to I don't know, tabular, like to put enter between the lines because the actor can see more or less what are rhyming with what. But I think it's a good option. Like, hey, look, maybe you don't need it, but it's something here. Sí, está bien. Well, it's a part of ego of the translator. Okay.
No, not at all.
No.
I think Lynn is spot on in that when the audience doesn't notice it, or like it's not in your face, but they feel it subconsciously, is when you're speaking to their emotions. It's how you pull them in. Like, they don't understand why it's so fun to listen to, but it is because they hear all that, but they don't understand what's happening. But it's like, music is like, even if you can't read music or you're tone deaf or you can't sing, you can still enjoy music. It's like enjoying music with your right brain versus enjoying music with your left brain. And I think our job is to work with both brains, right and left, but the audience may only be able to enjoy it with their right brain, which is their emotional brain. But it helps them when the actors know. Also, not every actor is a rapper.
No.
Not every musical theater singer is an actor, is a rapper. It's a very specific skill set. And I think it's important to have people who understand rap, or it just helps.
Yes, I think it's a main thing if someday comes to Spain. I think, okay, maybe it's difficult not to have only the best actor, but the best person who can deliver this lyric as a rap, but also as a interpretation of the role. And yes, I think it may be difficult if someday comes. Vale, sí. ¿Alguien ha preguntado algo? No sé si...
Sí, we have a question there. I was wondering also if, since your translation is going to be aimed for two publics who aren't familiar with the history that Hamilton refers to, isn't it hard to make it understandable for them? Also through rap, which is very fast and may be hard to catch the first time. What do you think?
I think to the extent that I think it's similar in English too. If you I watched Hamilton for the first time with no research, I didn't listen to the soundtrack. I listened to it on stage. I could understand everything, but I also missed some lyrics I didn't understand. I think that's okay. I think the same thing can happen in your original language. I I think with rap, like with Hamilton, for example, it's so fast that what it does to the audience is they're like it pulls them in and you have their attention. So now they're really listening. So they're not like sitting back and eating their popcorn. I mean, you can't eat popcorn in theater, but do you know what I mean? It's like you're enjoying the art in a way that you're engaged and you're like latching onto the information as opposed to passively listening. I think with Hamilton, it's the better way to enjoy the show. But yes, actually, to your point, you should hire musical theater actors who know how to rap so that you can understand what they're saying. Because if you like drop the rhymes incorrectly, that's also where the meaning is. Because we put the most important piece of information of the line with the rhyme. So it's like, what do we got here? Okay. I have a line from Right Hand Man. And it's like, guns and horses giddy up. I decide to divvy up my forces. The skittish as the British cut the city up. It's like it falls into that. And I think even if you don't understand every single word, when you hear the important words, like I can kind of understand what you're saying in Spanish. It's the same way. But if it's your native language and you really focus on the words and it's delivered properly, you should be able to understand. I think so. And if you don't, go home and research and come back.
Yeah, I've seen some lyrics that recently that I was in front of them, and okay, they rhymed. Okay, there was a rhyme in the places that it had to rhyme, but you had the feeling that there weren't the words that had to be there. It's like, okay, we have like this that goes with this, okay, but there were not the important words. And I think it's very, very important that you said that it has to be like honest, and the rhymes are there because they are the words that have to rhyme, not
any word.
Yeah,
not a throwaway word. Yeah,
and it's very difficult. So the Sudoku keeps more difficult and difficult, but this is our job.
Yeah.
There's another question from Iñaki, que al hilo de lo que comenta Ken y de la pregunta anterior, ¿qué responsabilidad tendría el adaptador a la hora de que las letras sean inteligibles? ¿No? What's the responsibility of the adapter to make lyrics comprehensible, no? Or understandable by the audience? No.
What is the responsibility of the adapter to make the lyrics understandable? What is the responsibility?
Well, I think this is
I think it is. It's the responsibility, no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
No. Go. Yeah.
Oh, I think that is the definition of the job.
Yeah, but maybe you put like all the information, all the lyrics, but that lyric cannot be sung. Like, okay, maybe this is our job too, and this connects with the first one of the first things we talked about, because we're both actors. That my sense is, okay, if I cannot sing this and be sang and pronounced, and also think, can I act that? Is that an actable line? I think, okay, you have to miss it, because although it rhymes, the accents are good, and you have the information,
maybe it falls into the pattern, but there's something that doesn't
but this lyric cannot work with the mouth and with the feeling and the heart. And I think this is our responsibility to not only put like the words and the meaning and the form, but to be honest and actable. Yes.
Yes. I always sing my lyrics, and then if it has an emotional impact on me, I think I know I'm going in the right track. If I were to translate this, officially, which is one of my big dreams, obviously, I would imagine that unless I had a music director who is very, very good at teaching rap, I would also want to be the music, maybe not the music director, but the
supervisor.
The supervisor of like delivery of
I understand you a lot.
Because you understand the internal rhymes and all that stuff. I think it takes a lot of talent, but maybe depending on the actor, they'll take it to a direction that you never thought, and I think you have to stay open to the possibility that they'll bring something to the table that you didn't think of, and they make it better for you too. So put your ego aside a little bit.
Yes, it's good, I think, to go to the rehearsals and as much as you can, or sometimes I am in the same project that I translate, so I'm an actor inside a project that I made the lyrics, but most of the time I am not in the production, but I try at least to go to one of the rehearsals in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. I try. I cannot always, but to see, okay, is it going well? Someone needs some change. Okay, this vowel, I put the same vowel like in English, but this actor is not comfortable with this, so we can maybe change. But I cannot change like only this verse. If I change this verse, maybe I have to change like 3 more. But in order to make the job easier and more comprehensible and also more actable, maybe I missed something when I was, or maybe it worked for me but it's not working for the actor. And I think it's good to go to the rehearsals and with a note. The actors hate it. You said this, but remember that. But well, okay, I'm sorry, this is my job. And I think it is a part of responsibility for us to like make a little supervision in some way, or have someone. This is interesting, to have someone in the production. In Golfus de Roma, a funny way happened on the way to the forum of Sondheim. We're playing now in Catalan. The director assistant, who is also a translator, is very in contact with me, and with okay, they changed it. Okay, I go. I've seen the show twice or 3 times, and I say, okay, keep in mind, she's very aware of the translation and the needs of the translation, and is always there, like an angel me here, the actors hate her in this particular case, but yes, I think someone with a knowing of what the translation needs is good to be inside the project somehow.
I agree.
Oof, English
100%.
Wait, okay. Madre mía.
It's tricky because sometimes there's a lot of egos that you have to navigate, including yours. But this director is also a translator normally, but for this show you're translating it, but he's a director. But so then he, he wants to translate it, but you're doing it. So I've had situations where I've struggled to communicate. Especially because I'm in New York and they're in Japan. It's so much better in person. I think going to the rehearsals is the best. And sometimes actors will not perform the way that you envisioned it, and you just have to accept that. Yeah. Sometimes you can't have everything. But we can try.
That's the main thing.
We have to. That's our job. Push people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. No. Yeah.
We have another question.
Do you think that to translate Hamilton, it is essential to previously research on US history and Hamilton's life so you can have a wider perspective? I mean, knowing beforehand what is historically accurate and what is not could be helpful when it comes to decide how to translate the song.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think she answered the question. Yes. I had to do. I don't live in America. We in Spain, all the movies and everything they come from America. So okay, we know their history more or less, but in order to do this, I always say that when you're doing like a translation, any translation, you have to be an expert of that theme. Absolutely. I translated The Beautiful Game, which is about football and Ireland, and I don't know anything about football, soccer. It was like, okay, I have to be an expert of this. But you have that option, because you cannot be honest that this lyric will come here and someone would say this, and this is in the case of Hamilton, you have to know what happened. What did not happen, but they put inside, and have some references, because maybe you can use some references that they didn't use, but they are helpful and they are true, so you can use them because you can rhyme something or have a pun or something.
Right.
So yeah.
Here's a line I can't translate that's a historical reference, but I can pull another thing that was from the book that isn't in the show, but also happened, and it happens to rhyme, and it has the same, emotional impact. Now you have more options.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful. Absolutely. And also everybody comes to you for questions. If you translate the show, they want to know everything.
Yeah.
It's hard, even English speakers. Do you know the website genius.com?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing because people can contribute their notes.
Very helpful.
Very helpful. You go, you look at Hamilton, any Hamilton song, and literally line by line, there's so many notes, and a lot of people are explaining.
This book, it's not so accurate. Well, it's not so accurate. It's not so filled of comments, but this book is amazing because Lin-Manuel Miranda comments about and it's very like, okay, I would miss this if I didn't know, but yes, Genius is very helpful for everything. Maybe they can lead you to a place that the author didn't intend to lead you, but maybe it's when you're translating, you're understanding and you're interpreting the text, you're understanding and you're rewriting, so there's always a point of view that maybe the author didn't see and you're seeing, and well, maybe if you're in contact with the author you can ask him, but Jonathan Larson is not okay, you cannot ask him, so you have to trust
you translated Rent into Spanish
and into Catalan, and also Tic Tic Boom.
What's the difference between Spanish and Catalan in terms of just the process?
Spanish is way longer than Catalan and have like very few monosyllables, and also every word is like tata nor tata. So English, which is always tata or ta, I don't know how to say this llanas y esdrújulas en inglés, no tengo ni idea. Well,
what do you mean in Spanish everything is tata?
Like in English, you have a lot of monosyllables and very short words. Like let me see.
Like got.
Listen, or like listen and pretend. We have a more way listen, like the accents. And English, it's more useful to have like pretend. Everything is tatan. All the rhymes tend to be or monosyllable or to be, to know, to go. And in Spanish we say listen. Am I explaining myself? Like the accents of the word, the words are longer, so you need more space, like you menonakani and atawa, and it's and we have fewer options to rhyme because the accents don't fit very well. This is in Spanish, and in Catalan we have more monosyllables and more words ending like pretend, not listen.
But I thought Spanish is consonant vowel, consonant vowel, consonant vowel. So it would have lots of monosyllables, no? Like English would have more diphthongs.
No, because you make like sin alefas, que no sé cómo se dice en inglés. Like you say in English, you say
sin alefa.
Sin alefa?
The word
Okay.
or elision, but elision is not the same.
You in English you say be.
When you join,
Yeah.
in English it's not as common to use sin alefas. Because when you join two vowels from different words into one syllable, it's like a diphthong. But joining vowels from different words, which is something we do when speaking.
Oh,
we like condense like the
right.
but the words are very long and but we have like this we can shorten it with
I understand now. Yeah.
and in Catalan it goes like faster. You can put more words in Catalan than in Spanish.
Interesting. Interesting.
But it's like softer. That's what I told you, that Hamilton worked a lot for me in Spanish because it's like tac 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 tac, and Catalan is more more or less. But I want to try the Catalan because everything can be translated into any language. So, but I didn't try it into.
Yeah. You need another.
But it's harder. It's harder in Spanish, practically always. It's harder in Spanish.
Yeah. Are you going to release more songs on YouTube?
I don't know. We have, because this lyric we adapted, we translated with Daniel Angles, which is my partner in most of the works, and we did my shot. I have like recorded by me, but I don't know if someday they will release it, because this was in the pandemic. Every actor was okay.
I always say better to ask forgiveness.
No, but this like Hamilton in Spanish was like an idea of the boy who is playing Scar in The Lion King right now in Madrid, and he said, "Can you translate some lyrics?" And I had one or two, but we translated to put these songs into YouTube in the pandemic, and then everyone went back to the jobs and everything, and it was like, but I want to publish my chat, if not by them. My idea was to pay some real rappers to deliver the song, or maybe I will record it myself one day. But I think my shot will see the light someday.
Amazing. Can't wait.
Are you singing and posting like more songs, or?
Yeah, I'm working with somebody to put out Wait for It.
Okay.
So wait for it. And I would love to do Satisfied,
Whoa.
Schuyler Sisters maybe, and also Alexander Hamilton, because I haven't put that out. But yeah, I think, those songs are at the beginning of the show, so it's not too much of a spoiler. And I think, I think Lynn is supportive about fan content. I think it's unofficial, but I've heard that he generally okays things that people create if they're fans. And, as long as they're not making money, he is supportive of derivative art of Hamilton. So I'm willing to take my chances. And then if they take it down, they take it down, or whatever.
He's okay, except that version. I don't know if you've seen it, but that releases version like went by the internet of a school. Like, we're talking about Hamilton and Jesus Christ. Like, have you seen this? It's
no.
If you I don't know how to find it, but it's like a high school that they did Hamilton, but everything is about Christ. They changed the lyrics and everything,
oh my God.
and it's like, whoa. Yes, it was something that the internet make a lot of fun of it, because they were not great singers neither, and it was like, okay, so
it sounds like
they say cross. I don't know.
Yeah, they did Rent, and I think they eliminated all references to AIDS and being gay.
How can you say that this is Rent?
Some Christian high school did that.
Whoa. Yeah. But no say, okay.
It's the whole point. I know.
Okay.
Well. We have another question here.
Oh yeah.
How do you approach all the reference to different hip hop songs? Do you try to add references to other hip hop songs in your language, or do you drop them?
I'll go first. I did a lot of research in Japanese hip hop for that precise reason. And I discovered so much good Japanese hip hop that I realized was coming out that I didn't know because I've been living here for 12 years. And yeah, I'm trying to put it in, you know, when I can. It's very hard to put the original. What was something else? Oh, in my shot, there's the line, you've got to be carefully taught. If you don't, you're going to get shot. That's a reference to South Pacific, I think. There's no way the Japanese audience would get that. So that one I just dropped. I just gave up. I was like, this is just impossible. I don't know the original Japanese. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a tricky thing to do because we use the Prince of Bel-Air, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know if
Will Smith.
Yes, the dubbing into Spanish, they put a lot of localisms. Like they talked about Spanish people and everything. It was like, it was famous and it was fun, but I think that the audience says, okay, this is they did it. Okay, they did it to have fun, but I think that to put some references like very known, like, okay, this is a Spanish song. Okay, this is a Spanish song. This is a Spanish song. I think that maybe the audience can feel like, okay, they're doing something. And I think one of the other things I always say that a translation, it has to make the same feeling as the original, blah, blah. And also to be invisible, like to not be aware that you're listening to a translation. And so if you put a lot of things that are that the people say, okay, this is a Spanish song, but how these American people know this is a Spanish song, I think that the audience make like, and unless you find some verses like go well and you can say, this is a Spanish song, but they are saying this because it's a Spanish song or because it's natural for them to say. I think it's a tricky zone because there's this danger of the audience to say, what? And my option will be to be very like smooth or invisible, or else drop it, because I since I discovered Hamilton, I'm listening more rap than I am used to, because I'm a musical boy and soundtrack boy, absolutely, and Disney boy, and I was not very used to hip hop, but I discovered and I like and I love it, and I love like how do you say, like this battle, like
rap battle.
Freestyle battles. I fell in love, and I was like hours and hours listening to this, but although I made my research and to say, okay, what's sounding right now in hip hop, and I'm not an expert, and well, I had this thinking that putting a lot of things that sound really Spanish or recognizable was a little danger for reminding that you're saying something that is translated.
Yeah, I think you're right, and yeah, you bring up a very a good point. It takes the audience out and suddenly puts them in this Spanish context.
Yes.
Where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe the more effective way, if you can't use references, I mean, using references to Spanish rap songs or Japanese rap songs is great, but maybe using really up-to-date slang, throwing new phrases that are part of the young colloquialism can make it sound very relevant. It's a good substitute, maybe.
Yeah,
those kind of references, even if it's not a reference. I just throwing in slang is something that I try to do if it's appropriate. I also like sometimes, because I've been living in New York for 12 years, so I go online and I just look up new Japanese slang.
You discover what are they saying?
What are the kids saying nowadays?
Yeah.
I struggle even in English. I'm like, People say like based online all the time. I'm like, what does based mean? Like
Yeah.
that's so based.
Yeah.
It means like authentic, non-mainstream.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. There's the
Yeah, yeah.
language keeps evolving.
Urban Dictionary is a good tool too.
That's
In
true.
English.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah.
I think there's going to be a last question because someone is typing. If we have time, we can include our last question. I know it's Maria saying thank you for the reply.
Okay.
I could talk to you for hours. I mean, it's really interesting to be discussing this, and especially in to be discussing about adaptation into different languages. Because I mean, Marc and I are very used to talking about translating or adapting to Spanish, but we've never discussed about what happens
It's
when
fascinating for
adapting
me.
it.
Yeah. And
Same.
also
It
knowing
sounds
a
like-
little bit of Japanese, I can like imagine. I don't know, but I see. Oh, wow, it's so interesting. Can we do it every Tuesday? Maybe no. Okay.
do another episode.
Well, we could
I
include
wonder-
other languages for further encounters. No, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah. Japanese is it only has 5 vowels.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Like Spanish.
Spanish too. In Catalan, we have
Oh.
way more, but in Spanish, we have like a, e, I, o, u.
Yeah, English has way more.
Mhm.
So maybe that makes the rhyming a little bit easier. So it compensates for not being able to fit in all the information, but because there are less vowels,
Mhm.
the possibilities of rhymes are a little bit more than English, so it balances out maybe.
In Spanish, we have the problem of the long and the endings because we don't have so much rhymes in Spanish, really. Rich rhymes, because that's another thing. We can rhyme every verb we want, but for us, it's not a rich rhyme. We can rhyme like sing, walk, everything we can rhyme, but it's like a poor rhyme, a very poor rhyme. So to have like rich rhymes, it's not so easy in Spanish, at least.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Rhyming 1 syllable, 2 syllables, that's easy. That's not impressive. You want to rhyme 4, 5 syllables and have that thread going. That's when you're like, oh, it like clicks in. Absolutely. I agree with you. Do you, because Spanish has the masculine and the feminine built into the language, how does that impact the process? Because that's additional information.
But if it really affects, I'm not
sure. Does it have an effect? Or
well, it affects sometimes when you're saying you. Well, maybe in "you'll be back," for example, it's not about feminine or masculine, but you. It can be you, only you, or you all in English. And in Spanish or in Catalan, you have to decide, because you cannot say you have to decide exactly like you or you, Tachi. And masculine and feminine, well, maybe it happens sometimes that you say you have one song like you're beautiful, you're wonderful, I don't know, it sang to a girl, but then in the reprise it sang to a boy, and you can and that's when the thing is, it's dangerous, because you have to put the few adjectives that cannot be masculine or feminine to fit, because beautiful, it's precioso or preciosa, depend it's beautiful, masculine or feminine, so you have rhymed with preciosa, and you have a problem when the girl sings to the boy, and this is maybe it sometimes appears this problem. For example, in a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, you're lovely, absolutely lovely. In general, it sang to the girl, but in the reprise, it sang to a boy who is disguised as a girl. So we wanted an adjective that cannot be like masculine or feminine, and said dulce, which is sweet. It's not dulza or dulzo; it's only dulce. And it was like, okay, we have this adjective, and yes, we sometimes have problems with this.
Gotcha. Yeah. Japanese is also gendered, but it's not like Spanish where every single word has a or an a, or it depends. It's just there exist certain words that are specific to certain genders. Boy language, girl language. So I definitely pick and choose and use those depending on the context. Yeah.
Like the King George, George's son. Does he speak like this? Like I don't know. In Japan, you have like different levels of treatment or something. Is he speaking like a high version of Japanese, like a more rhetorical or something, or not? Just a question that.
Yeah, in terms of registering, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So with that song, I kind of give him a like feminine language.
Whoa. Okay.
It's kind of like Frankenfurter talking, maybe.
Uh-huh.
From Rocky Horror Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold up. I want to like pull up my lyrics because I can't remember off the top of my head how I translated it. Here it is. You'll be back. Yeah, because what did I say? Watashi no. Oh yeah, so the pronoun for me is watashi, which is a feminine pronoun.
Instead of boku or something, right?
Fuman nano, why so sad? Fuman nano, it's yeah. Now you're making me mad. Okoru wa yo. Yeah, so the suffixes that I've added are all feminine suffixes. And I think it's because the energy of the character is kind of like this whiny, it's not like a strong masculine archetype. It's like a whiny, bitchy kind of character that's complaining and not accepting reality, not taking responsibilities, like very entitled and kind of like unattractive. And when a man behaves in this whiny way, not to be, I don't know, it just works better with this feminine language. It truly does. It's kind of like how a drag queen talks. I've done drag shows in Japan in my I have like a whole persona that I put on, and I use the feminine language, and it works in that way because it's kind of like you're putting on a character, and you can say outrageously demanding things and not be offensive at the same time, because it's not very threatening, I guess. It's hard to explain, but King George has been given the feminine cadence in Japanese. I think it works great. Yeah, I never thought of it. I just did it automatically. But now that I think about it, yeah.
And that's why this is important to control mostly your the tongue, that the language that you're translating into. You have to know a lot of the English in this case, but you have to be very you have to know a lot of the Japanese in this case, or the Spanish, because you have to dispose of these possibilities of saying things and flavors and everything, and you have to control a lot the language that you're translating into.
Yes,
you cannot. If I study Japanese and if I have like 5 years of Japanese, maybe I can translate and even maybe rhyme, but I will never get to the sense of maybe the feminine way would be better. That has someone. It has to be someone that is mother language or one of his mother languages. Yes, I think it's vital. Yeah,
I think so. And interestingly, Angelica, who is a female, I also assign her feminine language, but it's a little bit more masculine. Because she's assertive, she's straightforward, she's confident, she's intelligent, and she also takes ownership. Unlike King George, she takes ownership of her position in the family. She gives away her sister to marry to Hamilton. Even though she wants Hamilton, she makes a sacrifice for herself. She doesn't complain about it. And she's like very direct. she still uses feminine language, but it's not whiny like King George. It's a very, or maybe I'm just looking at the lyrics while I'm talking to you, but there are certain sentences that are just neutral, like not feminine. So I haven't embellished everything in a feminine way. I think with King George, pretty much every sentence I've embellished it with like a feminine suffix, some kind of feminine. With Angelica, I think it goes back and forth. Even though it's feminine, it's very intelligent. It's very smart. Yeah, it's but it's such a feel thing. It's like I'm not doing it because, you know, a feminine way of being is a certain way, or masculine way of being is a certain way. It's more like the impact that you have when you see the character and they speak to you in a certain way. It automatically gives you an idea of what this person is like. Yeah, it fits into existing archetypes that Japanese people are familiar with. So it's just it saves work. It's easier for the audience to just get into it.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's interesting because I didn't even think about that until you asked.
Well, okay.
You're welcome. Yeah. Wow, fascinating. Wow.
It's been, well, thank you. It's really, really, really fascinating talking about this. I think we could leave it here for the moment, and which doesn't exclude that we come up with another way of organizing another encounter to carry on talking about this, because I think it's really
I would love that.
Interesting.
I would love that too.
Keep working on your
English. No.
We'll check back in.
But I really appreciate both of you dedicating your time to this.
Thank you.
I'm sure our listeners have really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that when we publish it, there will be many people interested in listening to this. I think it's been really, really interesting and really, really fascinating. So thank you.
It would be horrible for me to hear me speaking in English when, oh my God, qué horror.
I think the important that I can understand everything you're saying, and if I don't, I tell you. So that's all that matters.
Okay.
Well,
thank you for organizing everything, Nicolas. So
thank you,
Nicolas.
Nicolas.
We've been trying to organize this since I think September. I reached out to you.
It's been a back and forth, for sure.
But we managed to do it before the end of the year, which is
yes.
So
all right.
Thanks a lot, and
thank you so
I
much.
hope we can carry on discussing this really interesting matter. So,
yes, please.
I would love that.
Thank you a lot.
Okay. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and everything.
Have a good night. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Very good.